If you cannot lose belly fat despite following all the fat loss tips, this video will save you years of wasted effort and frustration. Because when I got into trauma healing, I realized that most of the fitness and fat loss advice I was following was actually keeping me in survival mode. And that's where your body simply refuses to burn fat, even when you're doing everything right. So today I will share with you 6 common myths you need to stop believing and what to do instead so you can finally get lean easily and, more importantly, maintain it without effort. So let's start with the obvious one. You need diet to lose fat, because honestly, diet is not the solution. What you actually need is just the opposite. Stop dieting. Of course, you need to be in a slight calorie deficit, but following another fat loss diet, low carb, high protein, keto, is not gonna help you for 2 reasons. First one, diets rarely address the real root cause why you gained that body fat or weight in the first place, even it was simply just eating too much, because most of the eating habits are emotion driven and diet will not fix that. And then the second, if you already had bad experience with yo-yo dieting and didn't get results you wanted, now every time you try a new diet, your brain and nervous system will link diet with restriction and disappointment. And that will immediately activate your fight or flight high cortisol state, because it simply sees diet as a danger. And on the top of that, if you find it hard to stay consistent, it's not lack of your willpower or discipline, it's your nervous system. Because your brain will always try to protect you from discomfort, whether it's that restriction or disappointment. So instead of trying another diet, here are 3 simple things you need to do. First one, you really want to become healthier first. Nourish your body and give it what it needs, not punish it with restrictive diet. Second, you need to find meals that are quick to make and you truly enjoy them. If you don't enjoy what you eat, nothing will stick and you may end up in a cycle of dieting, binge eating and starting over. And the last one is stop eating at 80% full, because if you eat too much in one sitting, it's very likely you will crave sugar after a meal, which will not make your fat loss easier. It sounds so obvious, but I didn't see it for years. I was always fighting. I didn't like my body, so I just kept trying diets, supplements, workouts, completely ignoring how I felt and what my body really needed. But the truth is, every symptom we experience, even the stubborn belly fat, is just our body's way screaming for attention, and until we actually listen, nothing will fully work. Another common myth that keep a lot of people stuck is cheat meals are harmless if it's just once a week. Cheat meals are basically training your brain to never truly change. Think of it like being in a new relationship, but still texting with your ex every weekend. You are not really moving on. If you need that weekly cheat meal, it only means your daily food isn't satisfying enough. So the real solution here, make every meal enjoyable, build in foods you love daily, not just on Saturdays. And no, I don't mean here living off Snickers and cakes for dinners. I mean finding ways to enjoy food that also makes your body feel good, so you don't even need a cheat day anymore. It's a process, but it's 100% possible, and that's the only way to go if you are aiming for staying clean, losing excess body fat. But that's not everything. Another common myth is you have to exercise more to lose more fat. So first of all, you don't actually need to exercise at all to lose body fat, but if you exercise, the intensity of your workouts has to match your overall stress load. Otherwise, it backfires. And that's the part I got completely wrong. I used to train almost every day, but instead of getting cleaner, I developed stubborn bloating, my sleep got worse, I kept waking up at night and going to the bathroom more often despite not drinking much. And the worst part, I actually gained more fat. And that was a wake-up call for me that I'm doing something wrong. And what turned out, my overall stress load was already high, and pushing myself harder at the gym just added fuel to the fire, because more stress means more belly fat. You can do a free quick stress and cortisol assessment to get idea about your stress load, because the funny thing, that time I didn't feel stressed at all. I was just used to living in that survival mode. Anyway, if your stress load is low, you can go for a little harder workout, but still keep your heart rate in a range of 60-70% of your max heart rate, because that's the sweet spot for fat loss. That means no CrossFit, HIIT or high rocks if fat loss is one of your main goals. And then if your stress load is already high, take a step back, focus on walking, strength-based yoga, and also emptying your stress cup, because otherwise those workouts will just spike your cortisol and literally block your fat loss. I got to the point I had to resign from exercise completely for a couple of months, and that's actually when my body started to finally burning fat again. Next myth, eat more protein to burn more fat. You've probably heard this 1,000,000 times, and I fell for this too. Protein increases metabolism temporarily. Important word, temporarily, because protein is simply hard to digest, but it doesn't mean that magically your body will burn more fat or more calories just by eating more protein. In fact, too much protein can actually increase inflammation and as a result slow down your fat loss. And here is something most fitness coaches will not tell you. It's not even the muscle mass that drives metabolism, it's your thyroid. If your thyroid is sluggish, no amount of protein or exercise will fix it. So if you're not female athlete, you don't need really more than 1.5 gram of protein per kilogram of body weight. More doesn't mean better, you just need to get enough. Inside my Superwoman formula, I teach the step-by-step system how to balance hormones for fast metabolism and how to empty your stress cup so losing belly fat feels effortless and easy. If you would like to join, just click link in the description. Then next common myth, track your macros to lose fat. A lot of my clients tell me that even hearing check your calories, check your macros triggers immediate negative reaction and gives them anxiety. And honestly, I get it. For example, I used to obsess over every food choice, terrified that one potato would make me fat. But that stress doesn't help your body to burn fat. Obsessing over checking every single food every day puts you into that fight or flight, raises cortisol, and slow down that fat loss. Think about tracking macros like GPS. At the beginning, it helps you learn the route and direction, but once you know where you're going, you don't need to check them up every single day. So here is what you wanna do instead. First, set your goal only once. For example, 500 calories per meal, 20-30 grams of protein and 30-40 grams of carbs, and the rest are just healthy fat. Then just pick a few standard meals that fit in those numbers, and every day just keep your meals similar. It doesn't mean you have to eat every day the same food. You can use simple measurements like cups or tablespoons instead of obsessing with food scale and tracking every single macro. 1 cup of rice or quinoa is roughly 200 calories and about 30-40 grams of carbs. For fats, 1 tablespoon of oil or nut butter is about 100 calories. Protein is a bit trickier, but an easy rule is your palm. So 1 palm size of meat or fish around 100 grams gives you 150 to 150 calories, depending on how fatty is the meat or fish, and it gives you about 25-30 grams of protein. Or alternatively, just check the label. Trust me, if you make a shift towards healthier, balanced meals, you don't need to track macros, because with time you will just naturally learn and develop the sense of how much you're eating, and planning your meals here helps a lot too. And what else you want to do is detach your progress from hitting exact numbers. Macros are just information to help you eat healthier and stay full, not something to obsess over, which brings me to another common myth. Choose low-calorie foods to save calories. To lose body fat, of course, you need to stay in that calorie deficit, but it doesn't mean that high-calorie foods are bad and you should avoid them. Cucumber, for example, has 30 calories and a nut bar has 200 calories. But the nut bar will simply keep you fuller and energized way longer than 1 cucumber, unless you eat 6 of them, which is not really satisfying. And the biggest problem here, if you just focus on eating those low-calorie foods, you will go through the day in that survival mode, which is not really helping with fat loss. What you want to aim for is choose the healthy foods you enjoy. I keep repeating that. Foods that are within your daily calorie limit, because if you only eat low-calorie foods you hate, you will feel unsatisfied and probably end up with more cravings or overeating. If you want to learn more about nutrition and seemingly healthy foods that may be slowing down your fat loss, watch this video next.